Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel and thanks for tuning in to this week's fishing report. Before we dive into this week's report, just want to remind you, if you use any of the guides or resorts mentioned in today's report, please let them know you saw them on Livin MN Outdoors. And with that being said, let's dive into this week's fishing report. All right, this week we're going to start on Mille Lacs Lake. The walleye bite has been really strong on Mille Lacs Lake. This past week it has slowed down just a touch due to some fish fly hatches going on out there. But if you put some time in, you're going to catch some walleyes out there. Now, the best areas to target walleyes right now is that 20 to 29 foot of water. The top edges of the mud seems to be holding the majority of those fish, especially early in the morning and later in the evenings. Now, the best ways to catch those fish, a large to jumbo leech is working best, although those leeches can be hard to find, so even a medium-sized leech will work as well. Put that on a slip bobber, and the slip bobber rigs that are utilizing a 1/16 or a 1/8 ounce jig head in white, orange, or chartreuse seem to be performing better than slip bobber rigs with a plain hook. Now, some other areas you can target those walleyes is on the rocks. The rocks do seem to be holding a lot more of those smaller fish below the keeper size, but anywhere from that 20 to 26 foot of water on the rocks is holding some walleyes as well, and they're catching those on slip bobbers as well. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, pretty good perch bite going on right now. It seems like those perch are favoring that 22 to 24 foot of water on the mud. You do got to move around. If you're catching a bunch of small perch, the big perch are not there. So that's a good indicator. Once you get away from those small perch and you catch a big one, more than likely there's going to be a lot more in that area. So really hone in on those areas without the small perch. Now, best ways to catch those perch, still a slip bobber with a leech. Tried a night crawler, a chunk of a night crawler, could not get a perch to bite on a night crawler. So that leech is extremely important for those fish. Now, as far as the smallmouth bass bite goes, finding more and more big smallmouth out deeper and deeper each week now. Finding them still in that 12 foot. They seem to be a little smaller, but 12 to 26 foot of water. The deep water rocks are holding some really nice smallmouth right now, and catching those on a tube jig seems to be working really well. Otherwise, a drop shot and a Ned rig will work as well, and utilizing something crawfish color is working best for those. Now, as far as the pike bite goes, the pike bite does seem to be slowing down some. Not really sure what the reason is. If you're going to try and catch some pike, I would try any of the bays on Mille Lacs Lake, anywhere from 6 to 14 foot of water in the weeds and along those weed edges. Pulling spoons, crankbaits, or big spinner baits will work as well. Now, if you're looking to hire a guide up in the Mille Lacs Lake area, we're partnered up with Joe from Keeper's Guide Service. He's really been on the fish lately. So if you want to get up to Mille Lacs Lake and catch some smallmouth bass or walleye, or you want to fish some of the smaller local lakes for panfish, walleyes, or bass, go ahead and give Joe a call from Keeper's Guide Service. All right, moving over to Leech Lake. The bite on Leech has been improving week by week. I believe we're past the dog days of summer now, and fishing should only get better from here on out. Now, as far as where to target the walleyes, still those main lake sand flats that have chara grass on them seem to be holding the most active walleyes right now. Anywhere from that 14 to 18 foot of water seems to be the preferred depth. Then catching those on a jig and a crawler, a jig and a leech, a slip bobber and a leech will work as well. And then the crankbait bite is really starting to pick up. The smaller size hot and tot is working good. Otherwise, a flicker shad or a smaller shad wrap should work as well. Now, as far as the panfish bite goes, the shallow weedy bays, the bluegills that are up in a little bit shallower, anywhere from that 6 to 12 foot of water, a small jig with a chunk of a crawler or a panfish leech is working, or a slip bobber with either of those baits as well. And then for crappies, 8 to 12 foot of water, throwing a jig in a minnow or a jig in a leech is working well for those. Now, as far as smallmouth bass bite, anywhere from that 8 to 18 foot of water, the sand with scattered boulders seems to be holding some really good fish, and then some of those rock reefs are holding nice smallmouth as well. Utilizing a tube, a Ned, or a drop shot is working to pick up some really nice smallmouth bass. Now, as far as the muskie bite goes, still targeting those shallow rocks seems to be holding a good majority of the muskies. And then out over the deep water basins, the guys live scoping are having success out there like usual. In shallow, throwing bucktails or jerk baits seems to be working really well. And then out deeper, throwing big glide baits or rubber baits is working good for the muskies over the deep water basin. Now, if you're looking to hire a guide up on Leech Lake or the surrounding area, we're partnered up with Parker from Davis's Guide Service. He is a school teacher, so his season will be ending here soon. So if you want to get up there and hop in the boat with an awesome guide, you better call him quick and scoop up his last remaining availability because he will be headed back to school soon. So if you're looking to get up to Leech Lake and want to hire a guide, go ahead and call Parker from Davis's Guide Service. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Leech Lake, Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort, they are located on beautiful Traders Bay, really close to some of the awesome fishing waters out there. They have cabins, campsites, seasonal sites, full barn restaurant, indoor swimming pool, tons of activities for the kids, along with tons of adult activities up at the bar. So if you're looking to get up to Leech Lake and have an absolute blast, go ahead and call Kyle from Acorn Hill Resort. All right, moving over to Lake Winnie. The walleye bite does seem to be stabilizing a little bit. Most guys are having success out there. The best areas to target walleye out there right now is the shoreline weed lines in that 7 to 14 foot of water. Best techniques for catching them is pulling a spinner with a fathead or pitching a jig in a crawler. They still are picking up some of those fish out off of those main lake humps as well, and on some of those sand flats adjacent to the weed lines in that 12 to 16 foot of water, but the weed lines are definitely holding the most active fish right now. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, the perch bite has really died off. Not really sure where they've gone. I would suspect that they're probably really shallow up in the weeds, but I can't confirm that at all. As far as the panfish bite goes though, over in Cutfoot, they're doing really good on big bluegills, targeting those shallow weed lines in 6 to 12 foot of water, throwing a slip bobber with a chunk of a crawler or a small jig with a crawler, or a small panfish leech will work to catch those. Then the crappies sliding out off of those deeper weed edges in that 8 to 16 foot of water. You got to be on the outside edge of those weeds to get those crappies to bite, but there are some really nice crappies to be had. Now, as far as the pike bite goes, pulling spoons or crankbaits in that 6 to 10 foot of water in the bay along the weed lines seems to be holding some really nice pike right now, along with a ton of undersized eaters. So if you want to pickle or bake some pike, not a bad time to be up on Lake Winnie. Now, if you're looking to hire a guide up on Winnie, we highly recommend Scott from zupsguideservice. He is the premier walleye guide up in the area. Whether you want to fish on Winnie or some of the smaller local lakes, Scott can accommodate both of those trips. So if you're looking to get out on Lake Winnie with a guide, go ahead and call Scott from zupsguideservice. Now, if you're looking for a place to stay up on Lake Winnie, Chad at the Pines Resort, he does have cabins available, and throughout the rest of the season, he will be doing some last minute cabin specials. So give him a call, check on those specials up there. They do have a full bar and restaurant, live bait, fish cleaning shack, boat rentals, the whole works. So if you're looking to get up to Lake Winnie, go ahead and call Chad from the Pines Resort. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you get out fishing, take some pictures, send them to us to our Facebook Messenger or over on Gmail, and we will do our best to feature you in next week's fishing report. When you do get out fishing, remember, be kind at the boat ramp, don't crowd your neighbor, and most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.